Where is peace when the world spins out of control? Have you ever woken up in the middle of a storm, your mind racing, your heart pounding, and the world outside demanding your attention? What if you could step away from it all, and instead of sinking deeper into chaos, you could rise above it? What if the secret to true peace isn't about escaping the noise around you, but instead learning to find stillness within? Could it be that peace isn't something we search for in the world, but something we cultivate from within? It's the middle of the night, and your phone is buzzing with notifications. Your mind is already racing, the pressures of the day ahead mounting even before your feet touch the ground. You open your eyes, but the weight of the world seems to have followed you from your dreams. The chaos starts before you even get out of bed. How are you supposed to stay calm when life feels like it's always speeding up? You're not alone. Every day, it feels like the world is spinning faster. We rush, we react, we try to keep up, but it never seems to slow down. The demands from work, family, friends, society, they all pull us in different directions. The more we try to gain control, the more we feel like we're losing it. And through it all, we desperately search for peace. But what if peace didn't need to be found in the external world? What if true peace could be created from within? The story begins. Imagine this. You wake up in the morning in a small, quiet room. The sunlight pours through your window, bathing everything in soft, golden light. For a few precious moments, the world is still, and you can breathe deeply, feeling the calmness settle over you. But just as you begin to enjoy this peace, the outside world comes crashing in. Your phone rings. Emails start piling up. People need you. There's no escape. It's like a storm that follows you wherever you go, constant, never-ending, demanding your attention. You rush through breakfast, get dressed, and face the day ahead. The storm inside you starts to mirror the one outside. You feel overwhelmed, lost, like you're just trying to keep your head above water. It doesn't have to be this way. What if you could live your life with the same calmness you felt in those quiet moments, even when the world around you is in turmoil? What if peace wasn't something you needed to chase or find, but something you could create at any moment? Buddha once said, "Peace comes from within, do not seek it without." This simple yet profound teaching can completely change how we view peace. Imagine the ocean during a storm. On the surface, the waves are crashing, the wind is howling, and everything seems chaotic. But beneath the surface, the water remains still. The deeper you go, the calmer it gets. Life is like that. On the surface, everything may feel chaotic: pressures, responsibilities, and expectations. But deep within, you have the power to remain still. This is where true peace lies. The struggle with external peace. Most of us look for peace outside of ourselves. We try to find it in material success, in relationships, or in accomplishments. But the truth is, everything outside of us is constantly changing. We get caught up in this illusion, thinking that if we just have the right job, the right partner, or the right possessions, we'll finally be at peace. But the moment something changes, we lose that peace. A lost job, a broken relationship, a shattered dream. Suddenly, the peace we thought we had is gone. Why? Because it was never truly ours to begin with. It was borrowed from external sources, and the world is unpredictable. But the peace that comes from within, that's yours to keep. A new perspective. Now, let's imagine a different scenario. You're walking down a busy street, and someone shouts at you. Most people would respond with frustration, anger, or defensiveness. The person's words would shake them, and their emotions would spiral out of control. But what if, instead of reacting, you took a deep breath, paused for a moment, and asked yourself, "Is this worth disturbing my peace?" In that moment of pause, you create a space between the situation and your reaction. You're no longer controlled by the external world. You choose how to respond instead of letting the world dictate your emotions. That space, that ability to pause, is where your power lies. The next time you feel triggered, take that moment of stillness. Ask yourself, Is this worth losing my peace over? The answer will often surprise you. Most of the time, it isn't. Cultivating inner peace. Peace isn't something you have to search for. It's something you can cultivate within yourself, but it takes practice. Imagine if you started each day by spending just 5 minutes in silence, away from the noise of the world. No phones, no distractions, just you, breathing deeply, grounding yourself before the storm begins. When something triggers you, instead of reacting impulsively, pause, breathe. Ask yourself if this moment is truly worth disturbing your peace. In those brief moments, you will discover your power to remain calm, no matter what's happening around you. And then there's nature. Have you ever spent time outside, really paying attention to the world around you? A walk through the park, watching the trees sway in the wind, feeling the breeze on your face. Nature is never rushed, never chaotic. It moves at its own pace, yet everything gets done. You too can learn to live like nature, calm, steady, and unhurried, no matter how chaotic the world around you becomes. The lesson. The truth is, peace is not something you find outside yourself, it's something you create within. The more you practice inner stillness, the more the external world will lose its ability to disturb your peace. And once you find that peace, you will discover something remarkable. The storm outside can rage all it wants, but it can no longer shake the stillness within you. You become unshakable. The world will always offer you reasons to lose your peace. People will say things that upset you, life will throw challenges your way, and the noise will get louder. But you don't have to let it in. You don't have to let it take away your peace. Peace is yours to create. It's not found in the things around you, but in the calmness you choose to cultivate within yourself. The moment you realize this, you will understand that you are the creator of your own peace. No one else can take that away from you, unless you allow them to. The power of response. How to break free from the chain of reactivity. How many times has a single moment of frustration ruined your entire day? You get triggered by someone's words, a minor inconvenience, or a disagreement, and suddenly everything feels out of control. What if the secret to reclaiming your peace lies not in avoiding these triggers, but in learning how to respond instead of react? Imagine this. Someone insults you. You feel the anger rise, the desire to defend yourself, to retaliate. But instead of reacting impulsively, you pause, take a breath, and choose to respond with wisdom. The outcome? You feel calm, empowered, and free. What's the difference? The choice to respond. There are moments in life when the world seems to throw everything at you at once. Unexpected criticism, a traffic jam, an email that throws your entire schedule into disarray. It's in these moments, when emotions are high and tempers flare, that the difference between reaction and response can define your entire day. You've probably experienced it. Someone says something rude, or something doesn't go your way, and your first instinct is to lash out, defend, or get upset. But what if the power to change how you feel and how you act lies not in the external circumstances, but in your choice of how to respond? The story begins. Imagine walking through a forest. It's a beautiful day. The sun is filtering through the trees, birds are chirping, and you feel at peace with the world. Suddenly, an arrow strikes you in the leg. The pain is sharp and immediate. Your body reacts instinctively: shock, fear, the sharp sting of hurt. Now, in that moment, you have a choice. Do you let this arrow define you, or do you have the power to choose how you respond? This is what happened in the ancient teachings of Buddha. He spoke of the two arrows. The first arrow is the pain, or the difficult event, the insult, the criticism, the accident. The second arrow is the one you throw at yourself, the anger, the self-pity, the guilt, the anxiety that follows. This second arrow often hurts more than the first, and it's the one we have the power to avoid. We can't always control the first arrow, the situations and challenges that life throws at us, but we can absolutely control how we react to it. That's where the power lies. Instead of falling into the trap of immediate, automatic reactions, we can choose to pause, reflect, and respond with clarity. The struggle with reactivity. We've all been there. Someone cuts you off in traffic, and instantly your blood starts to boil. A colleague makes a critical remark about your work, and the frustration takes over. The moment you react, you hand over your peace to the situation. It feels like the world is in control, and you're just a passenger, swept along by your emotions. This is the danger of living reactively when our emotions dictate our actions. The truth is, the more we react, the more we become slaves to the external world. Every criticism, every inconvenience becomes an excuse for us to lose our peace. But what if, instead of reacting impulsively, we took a step back? What if, before our anger, fear, or frustration could take over, we paused for just a moment to reflect on our response? The power of response. Buddha's teachings offer us a way out of this cycle. He said, "When the arrow of suffering strikes you, do not let a second arrow come from your own mind." In other words, while you may not have control over the first arrow, the second is entirely up to you. To respond instead of react is to step into a place of awareness where you recognize the situation without letting it control you. Think of it like throwing a stone into a still lake. If the water is calm, the stone will create a small ripple that quickly fades away. But if the water is already disturbed, that same stone will cause chaos, sending ripples in every direction. Your mind is just like that water. If you are calm and centered, external events will create only minor ripples. But if your mind is already restless, every disturbance will feel like a storm. This is why it's so important to cultivate inner stillness. The calmer your mind, the less likely you are to be swept away by the storms of life. Choosing to respond with awareness. So, how do we practice responding with awareness? The first step is to recognize when we're about to react. It starts with noticing our triggers, those things that immediately set us off. Is it criticism? Is it feeling ignored? Maybe it's the fear of failure or rejection. Once you've identified your triggers, you can take a moment before you react. This doesn't mean suppressing your emotions or ignoring your feelings. It means creating space between the event and your response. By pausing for just a few seconds, you give yourself the opportunity to decide how you want to react, rather than letting the situation dictate your emotions. Here's where mindfulness comes into play. Instead of letting your feelings overwhelm you, you observe them without judgment. You don't let the emotions control you, you become the observer. And from that place of observation, you choose your response. Do you respond with understanding, with curiosity, with trust? Or do you react with defensiveness, anger, or frustration? It's important to remember that this shift doesn't happen overnight. It takes practice, but with time, it becomes second nature. The more you respond with awareness, the more you reclaim your power. You are no longer controlled by external circumstances. You become the master of your emotions. A powerful example. Let's look at a simple example. Imagine you're at work, and a colleague criticizes you in front of the team. Your first reaction might be to defend yourself, to feel attacked, or to become upset. But instead of immediately reacting, you take a deep breath and ask yourself, what is this person really trying to communicate? How can I respond with understanding? You might realize that the criticism isn't personal. Maybe your colleague is under stress, or maybe they are simply giving feedback. In that moment, you can choose to respond with clarity and grace, rather than with defensiveness or frustration. Your response becomes grounded in wisdom, not in reaction. The liberation of response. This is the power of response. It's not about suppressing your emotions, but about learning to create space between the event and your reaction. It's about choosing to respond with awareness, wisdom, and compassion, rather than reacting automatically. When you master this, you'll notice a remarkable shift. You will no longer feel at the mercy of life's circumstances. You won't be swept away by every wave that comes your way. Instead, you'll stand firm, like the calm, still depths of the ocean, unaffected by the surface turbulence. You will become untouchable not because the world stops challenging you, but because you have learned to respond with awareness and grace, no matter what life throws at you. The rivers flow, embracing change without resistance. Have you ever felt like you're fighting against life itself, struggling with change, feeling like you're being swept away by forces beyond your control? What if instead of fighting the current, you could flow with it? What if, like a river, you could embrace change as it comes, without resistance? Change is inevitable, yet we often resist it, hoping to hold on to what we know. But what if the key to peace isn't in fighting change, but in flowing with it? Could it be that we're meant to bend like the reed in the storm, rather than break? Life moves forward, constantly changing, always shifting. And as much as we might try to hold on to what we have, our relationships, our jobs, our health, nothing lasts forever. The seasons change, time passes, and what was once familiar becomes unfamiliar. So, how do we handle these changes? Do we fight against them, desperately trying to keep things the same? Or do we learn to flow with them, accepting what comes, and letting go of what must leave? Imagine standing by a river. The water flows steadily, never stopping, always moving. It flows around obstacles, rocks, branches, and even fallen trees, never fighting, just flowing. And over time, even the hardest stone is shaped by the persistence of the water. The river never resists, it simply flows. But what if you were caught in that river, struggling to stay in one place? What would happen? You would exhaust yourself. You would only cause more suffering. Life is like that river. We can either struggle against the current, fighting the inevitable changes that come our way, or we can learn to adapt, bend, and flow with it. The more we resist, the more we feel stuck, powerless. But when we stop fighting and learn to accept change, we open ourselves to growth, peace, and transformation. The struggle against change. Change is inevitable, yet most of us resist it with everything we've got. We fear it, fight it, and wish we could turn back time. We want to hold on to what we know, to the comfort of the familiar, and the idea that we can control our destiny. But the truth is, change doesn't ask for our permission. It's going to happen whether we like it or not. When we resist change, we create tension within ourselves. We hold on tightly to what we want to keep, and in doing so, we only create more pain. It's like trying to hold on to a rock in the middle of a river. You'll only get exhausted and hurt yourself. But when we accept that change is a natural part of life, we can learn to go with the flow, like the river, and trust that we are moving towards something greater, the wisdom of impermanence. Buddha taught us that nothing is permanent. Everything is subject to change. The nature of life is constant transformation, whether it's the seasons, the people we meet, or the circumstances of our lives. Everything is always changing. And yet, we often act as if things should stay the same. We get attached to the way things are, and when change comes, we resist it. But the truth is, change is not our enemy. It's a teacher. Every change brings with it a lesson, an opportunity for growth. When we embrace change, we stop seeing it as a threat and begin to see it as an opportunity. A lost job might be a chance to explore new paths. A failed relationship could be the space needed for self-discovery. A difficult phase in life may be preparing you for something greater ahead. The river's wisdom. Think of the river again. It flows without resistance. It doesn't fight the rocks in its path. Instead, it simply goes around them, over them, under them. And with time, the river carves its way through even the hardest stone. If the river resisted the rocks, it would not flow. It would be stuck. But because it embraces what comes, it finds a way to move forward. Life works in the same way. We can't control every aspect of what happens to us. We can't stop time or prevent the changes that will inevitably come. But we do have the power to decide how we respond. When we learn to flow with life, we stop fighting and start adapting. We bend, like the reed in the storm, rather than breaking. We trust that even though the river may take us in unexpected directions, we are always moving forward towards something meaningful. The power of acceptance. So, how can we practice embracing change instead of resisting it? It starts with acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up or resigning ourselves to a life of passivity. It means acknowledging the reality of what is, without judgment or fear. It means recognizing that change is a natural part of life, and that resisting it only causes us more suffering. Acceptance also means letting go of the need to control every aspect of our lives, letting go of our attachment to outcomes, letting go of the past. When we release our grip on the things we cannot control, we make space for new opportunities, new relationships, and new experiences to enter our lives. Embracing the flow. To embrace change, we must first shift our mindset. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we ask, "What is this teaching me?" Every change, whether we perceive it as positive or negative, has something to offer us. By shifting our perspective, we can begin to see life as a series of lessons rather than obstacles to overcome. Think about a time in your life when change was difficult. Perhaps it was the end of a relationship, a job loss, or a move to a new city. In that moment, it may have felt like the end of the world. But looking back, what did you learn from that experience? How did that change shape you into the person you are today? The more you can view change as a process of growth, the less you will fear it. Letting go with grace. The river teaches us the importance of letting go. The water flows around obstacles and over stones, never clinging to anything, always moving forward. In the same way, we must learn to let go of the things that no longer serve us. Holding on to the past, to old habits, or to things that are out of our control only weighs us down. Letting go is not always easy. It can be painful, especially when it involves things or people we care deeply about. But when we let go with grace, we make room for something better, something new. And when we do, we find that we are freer, more open, and more capable of embracing whatever comes next. The freedom of flow. When we finally accept that change is inevitable and embrace it, we experience a profound sense of freedom. We are no longer trapped in resistance. We are no longer fighting against life. We are flowing with it. And in that flow, we find peace, clarity, and strength. Like the river, we no longer need to fight the current. Instead, we can trust that no matter where the current takes us, we are moving towards something better. We don't need to know what the future holds. We simply need to trust in the process of change and surrender to the flow of life. The lesson of the river. The river teaches us that life is about movement. It's about going with the flow, not against it. Change is a constant companion, and when we embrace it rather than resist it, we find peace and freedom. The more we learn to bend with life, like the reed in the storm, the more we are able to endure and thrive. Let go of the need to control, trust in the flow, and watch how life transforms in the most beautiful and unexpected ways. Letting go of external validation. The power of self-acceptance. How many times have you changed your decisions, actions, or even your identity just to seek approval from others? What if true freedom lies not in gaining others' approval, but in accepting yourself completely without needing anyone else's validation? Imagine walking through life with a deep, unshakable confidence that doesn't rely on the opinions of others. No more seeking praise, no more fearing criticism, just you living fully without the need to please anyone. What would your life look like then? There's a strange weight that comes with constantly seeking validation from the world around you. It's as though your worth is on a never-ending scale, shifting with every compliment or criticism you receive. One moment, you feel on top of the world when someone praises you. The next, you feel small and insignificant when someone disapproves. The truth is, this cycle doesn't just make life exhausting, it steals your peace. But what if the answer to true freedom isn't in pleasing everyone, but in finding your worth within? What if you could let go of the need for external validation and, instead, embrace the power of self-acceptance. What if, in a world that constantly tries to measure your value, you chose to measure it yourself? The story begins. Imagine you're walking through a busy market. People are bustling all around you. Some glance at you with approval, others with indifference. A few might even laugh or sneer. At first it stings. You feel self-conscious, questioning your every move, wondering what people think of you. Then, you notice something. The people in the market are all focused on themselves. They're caught up in their own thoughts, their own lives. Most of them aren't even paying attention to you. They might briefly glance your way, but after that, they move on. In that moment, you realize something profound. People are more concerned with their own lives than with yours. The harsh judgment you feared might have never existed. It was just your perception. This is where true freedom begins, the moment you stop seeking approval from others and realize that your worth is not based on their opinions. Buddha's teachings remind us of something we often forget. Care about people's approval, and you will always be their prisoner. Our minds are conditioned to seek validation. We measure our self-worth by how others see us, whether it's in how we look, how successful we are, or how much we conform to societal norms. And every time someone criticizes us, we feel small. Every time we don't get the praise we think we deserve, our confidence wavers. The danger of external validation. The cycle of seeking validation can be incredibly draining. The problem isn't in wanting to be seen or appreciated, it's in tying your self-worth to the opinions of others. When you live for approval, you become a prisoner to the ever-changing judgments of the world. The minute someone praises you, you feel on top of the world, but when they criticize you, you feel shattered. This is what Buddha was teaching when he said, "Care about people's approval, and you will always be their prisoner." By placing your happiness and confidence in the hands of others, you are giving them the power to control your emotions. Your self-esteem fluctuates based on how others view you, and this constant back and forth leaves you feeling unstable. Instead of relying on others to define your worth, Buddha encourages us to find our self-worth within. True peace comes from knowing who you are without needing anyone else's validation. This doesn't mean disregarding feedback or never caring about how others feel about you. It simply means that you are no longer dependent on their approval to feel good about yourself. The power of self-acceptance. When you let go of the need for approval, you enter into a new realm of freedom. This freedom isn't about arrogance or indifference. It's about deep, quiet self-acceptance. It's the understanding that you are enough, just as you are, regardless of what others think. To practice self-acceptance is to stop seeking validation from the outside world. It's about recognizing that your worth comes from within. You don't need others to affirm your value. You don't need their praise to feel good about yourself. You already have everything you need within you to live confidently and peacefully. A simple shift in perspective. Think about a time when you acted or made a decision based on what others thought. Perhaps you took a job you didn't really want because it had prestige. Maybe you changed your appearance to fit in with a certain crowd. In those moments, you were seeking external validation. Now, imagine how differently you would have felt if you had acted from a place of self-acceptance, knowing that your value wasn't tied to anyone's opinion. The key to breaking free from this cycle is to shift your focus inward. When you start measuring your worth from your own perspective, the need for others' approval fades. You start making decisions based on what truly aligns with your values, not what others expect of you. The power of living authentically. Living authentically means being true to who you are, without worrying about what others think. It means living in alignment with your own values, not the shifting values of the world around you. Imagine walking through life without the constant need to please others, without the fear of judgment. How would your decisions change? How would your life feel different? This is the essence of true freedom, the ability to be yourself, unapologetically. When you stop seeking approval, you free yourself from the shackles of comparison, judgment, and insecurity. You become a beacon of authenticity, and your confidence is no longer fragile. It is solid, unshakable, and built on the foundation of self-acceptance. A story of freedom. There's a story of a man who spent his entire life trying to please everyone. He worked tirelessly to gain approval, changing his actions, his appearance, his goals to fit what others expected of him. He sought praise, avoided criticism, and lived in constant fear of judgment. Over time, this constant striving drained him. He realized that he was living someone else's life, not his own. One day, he decided to stop. He let go of the need for others' approval. He stopped caring about their opinions. He began to live authentically, making decisions based on his own values. It wasn't an easy process, but slowly he felt lighter, freer, more at peace. The opinions of others no longer controlled him, and he found deep happiness in simply being himself. The path to true freedom. True freedom comes when you stop measuring yourself by the yardstick of others' approval. It's the ability to live your life without constantly seeking validation from external sources. When you embrace self-acceptance, you break free from the prison of other people's opinions and learn to trust yourself. You are enough, just as you are. Your value isn't determined by the approval of others. It comes from within. The more you cultivate this self-acceptance, the more your life becomes an authentic expression of who you truly are. And that is where true peace lies. The unseen power of non-attachment, finding freedom in letting go. Have you ever been so attached to something or someone that it defined your happiness? What would happen if you let go of that attachment? Could it be that true freedom lies not in holding on, but in releasing what no longer serves you? Imagine walking through life without the constant pressure of expectations, attachments, and desires. What if letting go didn't mean losing everything, but instead discovering an inner peace that was always within reach? What would it be like to truly be free? We all have something we hold on to, whether it's a job, a relationship, a material possession, or even an idea of who we think we should be. We think that by holding tightly to these things, we're securing our happiness. But what if, in reality, we're trapping ourselves? What if true freedom comes not from holding on to the things we think we need, but from letting them go? When we're attached, we create a sense of dependency, relying on external factors to validate our sense of self. The more we hold on, the more we fear losing what we've become attached to. But could it be that in letting go, we discover a deeper, more lasting form of peace? What would happen if we stopped clinging to everything around us and instead learned to embrace the power of non-attachment? The story begins. Imagine you are holding a delicate flower in your hand. The flower is beautiful, its petals soft, its fragrance sweet. You cherish it, admiring its beauty and feeling a deep sense of gratitude for this fleeting moment. But as time passes, the flower begins to wilt. Its petals start to droop, its colors fading, and as you continue to hold on, the more you see it wither away in your grasp. Now, imagine that instead of trying to hold on to the flower, you simply let go. You place it gently on the ground, accepting that it was meant to be beautiful for a short time. You release your grip, and with it, the fear of losing something precious. In that moment, you realize something profound. The beauty of the flower was never about holding it. It was in the joy of witnessing its life, however brief. This is the essence of non-attachment. It doesn't mean we stop appreciating the things around us. It means we stop clinging to them for our happiness. When we attach ourselves to people, possessions, or outcomes, we create a sense of ownership that makes us fearful of loss. But when we release the need to possess, we open ourselves to a deeper appreciation and acceptance of life as it is. The struggle with attachment. Attachment is an incredibly powerful force. We attach ourselves to people we love, to things that bring us comfort, and to ideas of who we should be. We believe that by holding on to these things, we can find security, meaning, and happiness. But in reality, attachment often leads to suffering. When we become too attached to something, we fear its loss. We worry that without it, we won't be complete or happy. We cling tighter, not realizing that the act of clinging itself is what creates our anxiety. Think about a time in your life when you became attached to something. Perhaps it was a relationship, a job, or even an idea about yourself. What happened when that thing changed or was taken away? Did it leave you feeling empty, lost, or uncertain of your worth? That's the power of attachment. It convinces us that our happiness depends on things outside of ourselves. But the truth is, happiness comes from within, not from the things we hold on to. The wisdom of non-attachment. Buddha taught us that attachment is the root of suffering. When we cling to anything, whether it's a person, an object, or even a belief, we create the illusion that our happiness depends on that thing. This attachment clouds our judgment and keeps us locked in a cycle of desire and fear. The more we desire something, the more afraid we are of losing it. And in that fear, we can never truly be at peace. Non-attachment, on the other hand, is the key to freedom. It doesn't mean we stop loving, stop caring, or stop appreciating the world around us. It means we stop depending on those things for our sense of self-worth or happiness. When we let go of the need to possess, we open ourselves to a deeper appreciation for life as it is, without trying to control or hold on to it. The power of letting go. Imagine standing in front of a large tree. The tree is strong, rooted deep into the earth, and its branches stretch out toward the sky. But the tree also knows how to let go. Each autumn, its leaves fall away, one by one, leaving the branches bare. The tree doesn't fight the falling leaves. It accepts that they must fall. And in doing so, it allows itself to grow, to rest, and to prepare for the new season ahead. Life, too, is a cycle of letting go and embracing what comes next. We can't hold on to everything forever. People come and go, circumstances change, and seasons of life shift. When we learn to let go, we create space for new experiences, new relationships, and new opportunities. We free ourselves from the fear of loss and open ourselves to the beauty of what is. Non-attachment in practice. So, how can we begin practicing non-attachment? It starts with recognizing our attachments and learning to release them slowly, bit by bit. Here are a few ways you can practice non-attachment in your life. Let go of the need for control. Realize that you can't control everything. Let go of the need to micromanage every aspect of your life. Allow things to unfold naturally and trust that everything will work out as it's meant to. Embrace the present moment. Instead of focusing on what you might lose, focus on what you have right now. Appreciate the people, experiences, and things in your life without clinging to them. Be fully present in the moment, knowing that everything is temporary. Accept change. Understand that change is a constant part of life. When we stop fighting change, we can begin to appreciate the flow of life and allow ourselves to grow with it. Cultivate gratitude without attachment. Practice gratitude for what you have without attaching your happiness to it. Be thankful for the experiences and relationships in your life, but don't rely on them to define your worth or happiness. Release the past. Let go of past regrets, mistakes, and attachments to former versions of yourself. You are not the sum of your past. By letting go of old attachments, you create space for a new version of yourself to emerge. The freedom of non-attachment. When you embrace non-attachment, you discover the true meaning of freedom. You are no longer bound by the fear of losing what you hold dear. You are no longer dependent on external things for your happiness. Instead, you find peace in the knowledge that everything in life is temporary and ever-changing. You are free to experience life without fear, knowing that you are complete and whole, no matter what happens around you. Just like the tree that releases its leaves in the autumn, you too can let go of what no longer serves you. In doing so, you make room for new growth, new experiences, and new opportunities. And in that space, you find the true freedom that comes from living without attachment. The freedom of detachment. How to stop taking things personally. How many times have you allowed someone's words, actions, or opinions to disrupt your peace? What if the key to true freedom lies in realizing that nothing that others do or say is truly about you? Imagine living a life where no one's criticism, no matter how harsh, can make you feel small. What if you could walk through the world unshaken, with a deep understanding that what others think of you is none of your business? What would it be like to stop taking everything personally? We've all been there. Someone says something hurtful, or perhaps you don't receive the recognition you expected, and suddenly your world feels shaken. Your confidence wavers, your sense of self is thrown off, and the peace you worked so hard to cultivate feels distant. Why does this happen? It's because we take things personally. But what if nothing in the external world is truly about you? What if other people's words and actions reflect their inner world, not yours? The teachings of Buddhism tell us that one of the greatest sources of suffering comes from taking things personally. We make everything about us, every criticism, every judgment, every word spoken by others. But when we stop taking things personally, we break free from this cycle of suffering. We reclaim our peace and power, no longer allowing the external world to dictate how we feel. The story begins. Imagine a man walking through a village. As he strolls, a passerby calls him a fool, mocking him openly. The man pauses, smiles, and continues walking without reacting. A bystander, curious, asks him, "Why didn't you respond? Aren't you angry?" The man simply replies, "If someone offers you a gift and you refuse to take it, to whom does the gift belong?" The bystander is puzzled, but the man's answer reveals a profound truth. Just like an unwanted gift, negativity, criticism, or insults only affect you if you choose to accept them. When we take things personally, we internalize the words or actions of others, allowing them to define us. But when we realize that others' words and actions are a reflection of their world, not ours, we no longer need to absorb their judgments. Buddha's teachings about not taking things personally are an invitation to freedom. He said, "He who angers you controls you." The moment we allow someone's words to disturb our peace, we hand over control of our emotions to them. But when we refuse to take their words personally, we reclaim our power and find true freedom. The struggle of taking things personally. We live in a world full of opinions about how we should look, how we should act, what we should believe, and even who we should be. It's easy to let these opinions shape our identity, to base our worth on the reactions of others. When someone praises us, we feel good about ourselves. When they criticize us, we feel small. This constant fluctuation in our self-worth is exhausting. We become slaves to the opinions of others, seeking validation, approval, and acceptance. But the truth is, we cannot control the opinions of others. And the more we seek their approval, the more we give away our inner peace. Buddha's insight into not taking things personally is a call to stop giving others so much power over our emotions. It's about realizing that we are the ones who assign meaning to others' words and actions. What someone else says or does is simply a reflection of their state of mind, not a reflection of who we truly are. The freedom of detachment. Detachment doesn't mean that you stop caring about others or become indifferent to the world around you. It means you learn to not let the words or actions of others affect your internal world. You detach from the need for external validation, from the belief that other people's opinions define your worth. This freedom comes from understanding that everyone's behavior is rooted in their own experiences, fears, and desires. When someone criticizes you, their criticism reflects their perspective, not your reality. You have the power to choose whether you accept it or not. When you stop taking things personally, you stop giving others the ability to control your emotional state. You are no longer dependent on their approval to feel good about yourself. How to practice detachment. Practicing detachment involves learning to separate your sense of self from the opinions and actions of others. It starts with recognizing when you're taking something personally and choosing to release it. Here are a few steps you can take to practice detachment in your life. Recognize the signs. The first step is awareness. When you feel upset by something someone has said or done, pause and ask yourself, am I taking this personally? Once you recognize that you're internalizing someone else's words, you can choose to let them go. Shift your perspective. Instead of reacting with anger or hurt, try to understand the other person's point of view. What's motivating their behavior? Most of the time, people act out of their own fears, insecurities, or past experiences. Their actions are more about them than about you. Don't internalize criticism. When you receive criticism, remember that it is simply feedback, not a reflection of your worth. You can listen to feedback without letting it define you. Detach from the need to please everyone and focus on what feels right for you. Release the need for approval. Stop seeking validation from others. The more you base your happiness on others' approval, the more dependent you become on them. Instead, find validation from within, trust your own judgment, and embrace the unique path you are on. Practice compassion for others. Remember that when someone lashes out or criticizes you, they are often dealing with their own struggles. Respond with kindness, not defensiveness. You don't have to absorb their negativity. Instead, offer compassion and move on. The power of peaceful detachment. When you begin to practice detachment, you'll notice something profound. The less you take personally, the more at peace you feel. You no longer live in reaction to the world around you. Instead, you become a grounded, centered presence in the world, unaffected by others' judgments. Think about the power this brings. You can face challenges, receive criticism, or deal with difficult people without losing your peace. You can walk through life unshaken, knowing that you are whole, regardless of what others think of you. You can finally step into your true power and authenticity, free from the need to please everyone, living without taking things personally. Imagine living a life where you are no longer affected by the opinions, judgments, or criticisms of others. You make decisions based on your own values, your own truth, and your own sense of self-worth. You are no longer weighed down by the fear of what others might think. You walk with confidence, knowing that you don't need anyone else's approval to feel complete. This is the freedom that comes from detachment, the ability to live fully, without the need to take everything personally. You are free to be yourself, without fear of judgment or rejection. You are free to create the life you desire, without being swayed by the opinions of others. The true freedom of non-attachment. True freedom comes when we detach from the need for validation, from the need to be approved of by others. It's about trusting in our own worth, regardless of what anyone else thinks. When we stop taking things personally, we reclaim our peace and our power. We are no longer dependent on external circumstances to define us. We find our strength within, and that is where true freedom lies. The temporary nature of emotions. How to let feelings pass without clinging. Have you ever found yourself trapped in a cycle of overwhelming emotions, unable to break free? What if you could experience your emotions fully without letting them define you or control your actions? What if, instead of resisting them, you could simply let them pass? Imagine the next time you feel an intense emotion, be it sadness, anger, or fear, you could simply observe it without judgment or attachment and let it go as naturally as a cloud drifting across the sky. How would your life change if you no longer clung to your emotions but allowed them to come and go freely? Emotions are powerful. They arise within us like storms, sweeping us up in their intensity. Sometimes they feel so overwhelming that it seems impossible to escape their grip. In those moments, we might think that we are our emotions, that we are our anger, our sadness, or our fear. But what if our emotions are not who we are, but simply passing experiences? What if we could experience our emotions without becoming attached to them or letting them dictate our actions? The truth is, emotions are temporary. Like waves on the ocean, they come and go. The problem arises when we try to hold on to them or when we resist them, thinking they define us. But if we allow our emotions to pass through us without resistance, we can find freedom from their grip. In this chapter, we explore how to navigate the ever-changing landscape of emotions with grace and ease, without getting swept away. The story begins. Imagine sitting by a river, watching the water flow steadily. As you sit there, you pick up a leaf and drop it into the water. The leaf floats for a moment, and then it drifts away, carried by the current. The water moves on, unaffected by the brief presence of the leaf. It doesn't hold on to the leaf. It doesn't try to control it. The leaf comes and goes, and the river continues its path, unperturbed. This simple act of letting go the leaf floating away is how we can approach our emotions. Just as the river doesn't try to hold on to the leaf, we don't need to hold on to our emotions. They come and go. Sometimes they might feel intense, other times light, but they are always temporary. When we resist our emotions, we hold on to them, allowing them to shape and define our experience. But when we let them pass, without judgment or attachment, we free ourselves from their control. The struggle of clinging to emotions. How often do we find ourselves stuck in a single emotion, unable to move past it? When we feel sadness, we often ruminate on it, dwelling on past events that caused us pain. When we feel anger, we replay the situation over and over in our minds, reliving the injustice. We hold on to these emotions as though they define us, as though they are a permanent part of who we are. But emotions are not permanent. They are like clouds in the sky, they pass through us. The key is not to resist them, but to recognize that they are temporary. When we hold on to our anger, sadness, or fear, we are holding on to something that is meant to pass. We are attaching ourselves to fleeting feelings, thinking that they define us. In reality, we are not our emotions. We are the observers of our emotions, and the moment we detach from them, we free ourselves. The wisdom of impermanence. Buddha taught that all things are impermanent. Everything changes, and nothing lasts forever. Not the joyful moments, and not the painful ones. Emotions are no different. They arise, peak, and eventually subside. The key is to remember that nothing lasts forever, and that includes our emotions. Think about a time when you felt deeply sad or angry. At the time, it probably felt like those emotions would never end. You may have thought, "I'll never get over this," or "I will always feel this way." But eventually, those emotions passed. The sadness faded, the anger subsided, and you moved on. The more you recognize the impermanent nature of emotions, the less power they have over you. You can experience them fully, without clinging to them, knowing that they too will pass. The freedom of observing emotions. When you allow your emotions to pass without attachment, you experience a deep sense of freedom. Emotions no longer control your actions or define your state of mind. You can feel sad without becoming consumed by sadness. You can feel angry without letting it dictate your behavior. You can feel fear without allowing it to paralyze you. The key to this freedom is awareness. The moment you become aware of your emotions, you can choose how to respond to them. Instead of reacting impulsively, you can pause, observe, and decide how you want to move forward. This is the practice of mindfulness, becoming the observer of your emotions rather than being controlled by them. Practical ways to let go of emotions. Pause and breathe. When you feel an intense emotion, pause for a moment. Take a few deep breaths. This simple act of breathing allows you to create space between the emotion and your reaction. In that space, you can choose how to respond. Label your emotions. One effective way to detach from an emotion is to simply label it. Say to yourself, "I'm feeling sadness," or "I'm feeling anger." By naming the emotion, you create distance between yourself and it. You are not the emotion, you are the one experiencing it. Accept the emotion without judgment. Emotions are not good or bad, they just are. When you accept your emotions without judgment, you release the need to change or suppress them. Allow yourself to feel whatever you're feeling, and trust that it will pass when the time is right. Let go of the story. We often get caught up in the stories we tell ourselves about our emotions. This person hurt me, or this situation is unfair. These stories keep us stuck in the emotion. Instead, let go of the narrative and simply experience the feeling in the present moment. Practice mindfulness. Mindfulness helps you stay present and aware of your emotions as they arise. By regularly practicing mindfulness, you become more skilled at observing your emotions without getting caught up in them. The liberation of letting go. When you let go of your attachment to emotions, you open yourself to a deeper sense of peace. You are no longer controlled by your feelings. You can experience joy without clinging to it, and you can experience sorrow without being overwhelmed by it. You realize that emotions are temporary, and with that realization, you reclaim your inner freedom. Life will continue to offer you a range of emotions, some pleasant, some unpleasant, but the more you practice observing and letting go of these emotions, the less power they have over you. You become the still center of your own universe, unaffected by the emotional storms that may arise. The beauty of impermanence. Like the leaves on a tree that fall with the changing seasons, emotions come and go. We can experience their beauty, their intensity, and their lessons, but we don't have to hold on to them. We don't have to make them a permanent part of who we are. When we embrace the impermanent nature of our emotions, we open ourselves to a greater understanding of ourselves and the world around us. The illusion of control. Surrendering to life's flow. How many times have you tried to control every aspect of your life, only to find that the harder you grip, the more things slip away? What if the key to inner peace wasn't in controlling everything around you, but in surrendering to the flow of life itself? Imagine walking through life not as someone trying to bend the world to their will, but as someone who trusts that everything happens for a reason. What would it feel like to let go of the need to control and simply flow with life's natural rhythm? We live in a world that constantly pushes us to take control. We're taught to plan, to strategize, and to shape our lives in our image. We believe that control is the key to success and happiness. But what if, in our attempt to control everything, we're actually creating more stress, anxiety, and resistance? What if the path to true peace and freedom lies not in forcing life to fit our expectations, but in surrendering to its flow? Control is an illusion. The more we try to control the world around us, the more we become slaves to our own desires. True freedom, however, comes when we surrender to the flow of life, when we stop fighting against the current and start trusting that life is unfolding exactly as it's meant to. In this chapter, we'll explore the wisdom of surrender and how letting go of the need for control can lead to a life of peace, freedom, and deeper trust in the process. The story begins. Picture yourself standing at the edge of a river. The water flows rapidly, the current strong, the force undeniable. You've been standing there for a while, trying to control the flow of the river, to make the water flow in the direction you want. You push against it with all your might, struggling, trying to force things to go your way. But the more you try to control the river, the more you exhaust yourself. One day, a wise old man passes by, watching you struggle. He sees your frustration and says, "Why are you fighting the river? It will never flow the way you want. Instead of fighting it, why not let it carry you?" You pause and realize that he's right. You stop trying to fight the river, you let go, and you allow the current to take you. Suddenly, everything feels easier. The water flows around you, taking you in the direction you need to go, and you feel the freedom of surrender. This is the essence of surrender, letting go of the need to control and trusting that the flow of life will carry you where you need to be. When we stop fighting the current, we begin to move with it, effortlessly. Instead of struggling against life, we surrender to it, trusting that everything will unfold as it should. The struggle with control. How often do we try to control the people in our lives, the situations we find ourselves in, or the outcomes of our actions? It's easy to think that control equals safety, that if we manage every detail, we can ensure things turn out the way we want. We spend so much energy trying to control the uncontrollable others' actions, the future, or the unpredictability of life, and in doing so, we create more tension and resistance within ourselves. Control is exhausting. It's a constant battle against the forces of life, trying to mold everything around us to fit our desires. But the more we try to control, the more we close ourselves off from the natural flow of life. We're so focused on our rigid expectations that we miss the beauty of the present moment, the lessons hidden in uncertainty, and the opportunities that arise when we let go. The wisdom of surrender. Buddha once said, "When you are content to be simply yourself and don't compare or compete, everybody will respect you." This is the wisdom of surrender, the understanding that we don't need to control anything to feel whole. When we surrender, we stop comparing ourselves to others, stop measuring our worth by external standards, and stop trying to force life to fit our narrow expectations. Instead, we allow ourselves to be fully present in the moment, trusting that we are exactly where we need to be. Surrendering doesn't mean giving up. It means trusting. It means trusting in the process of life, in the unfolding of events, and in the knowledge that we are supported by forces greater than ourselves. When we surrender, we release our need to control, and in doing so, we open ourselves to a deeper sense of peace and trust. The power of letting go. Letting go of the need to control means relinquishing the belief that we have to know everything or dictate every outcome. It means releasing our attachment to specific results and embracing the unknown with open arms. It's about trusting that life has a natural rhythm and that we are part of that rhythm. When we let go, we open ourselves to a deeper connection with the present moment. We stop chasing outcomes and start experiencing life as it unfolds, trusting that each moment has something valuable to offer. This act of letting go frees us from the burden of control, and in that freedom, we find peace. The practice of surrender. So, how can we practice surrender in our lives? The first step is recognizing where we're trying to control things. It may be in our relationships, our careers, or even our self-image. Once we identify these areas, we can begin to consciously release the need to control. Here are a few ways to practice surrender. Release the need for perfection. Stop trying to make everything perfect. Perfection is an illusion, and the pursuit of it creates unnecessary stress. Allow things to be as they are, and trust that they are enough. Let go of expectations. Let go of the expectation that life will unfold exactly as you want it to. When we release expectations, we free ourselves to experience life as it is, with all its beauty and unpredictability. Trust the process. Understand that life is unfolding as it should. Trust in the process of growth, knowing that even the struggles and challenges are part of the journey. Surrendering to the process means having faith that everything is happening for your highest good. Practice mindfulness. Be present in the moment. When we're caught up in the future or the past, we lose sight of the present. Mindfulness helps us connect with the here and now, allowing us to surrender to the flow of life. Embrace uncertainty. Life is uncertain, and trying to control the outcome of every situation only causes frustration. Embrace uncertainty as an opportunity for growth and trust that everything will work out in the end. The freedom of surrender. The more we surrender, the more freedom we experience. Surrender isn't about giving up, it's about releasing the need to control. It's about trusting that life has its own path and that we are part of that path. When we surrender, we stop fighting against life and begin to flow with it. And in that flow, we find the peace and freedom that we've been searching for all along. Imagine walking through life with the deep knowing that you are not in control of everything, and that's okay. Imagine feeling the freedom to simply experience life, knowing that whatever comes, you can handle it. This is the freedom that comes with surrender. You are no longer tied to outcomes, no longer resisting the flow of life. Instead, you are free to move with it, trusting that each step leads you exactly where you need to be. The art of letting go. Finding peace in the present moment. Have you ever been trapped by the past or consumed by the future, unable to enjoy the present moment? What if true happiness is not in what has happened or what will happen, but in what is happening right now? Imagine living each day free from the weight of past regrets or the anxiety of future fears. What if the secret to lasting peace lies in fully embracing the present, without holding on to what's already gone or worrying about what's yet to come? In our fast-paced world, we often find ourselves caught in a constant struggle between the past and the future. We replay past events, wishing we could change them, or we anxiously anticipate the future, hoping for a better outcome. We get stuck in these endless cycles of thought, and in doing so, we lose the only moment that truly matters, the present. What if the key to finding peace, joy, and fulfillment isn't in what happened or what will happen, but in what is happening right now? In this chapter, we will explore the art of letting go of past regrets and future anxieties, and discovering the freedom and peace that comes from being fully present in the moment. The story begins. Picture this. You're sitting by a peaceful lake. The water is still, the air is fresh, and the world around you feels calm and serene. For a few moments, you are completely at peace, just enjoying the beauty of the present moment. But then, a thought arises in your mind. You start thinking about something that happened in the past, an argument you had, a mistake you made, a regret that lingers. As soon as the thought appears, your mind begins to stir, and the peace you felt is slowly replaced with tension and discomfort. Before you know it, you're reliving the past, over and over, feeling the same emotions, the same frustrations. The peaceful lake now feels far away, and you're caught in the current of your thoughts. Now, imagine you let go of the past. You simply acknowledge that it's over, and there's nothing you can do to change it. You return your attention to the present moment, the feel of the air on your skin, the sound of the water, the stillness in your heart. The peace returns. The present moment is always here, waiting for us to arrive, but we often fail to notice it because we're too busy dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. The practice of letting go is the practice of fully inhabiting the present, allowing ourselves to experience life as it is, without the weight of what was or what might be. The struggle with the past. How many times have you found yourself trapped by the past? You relive old mistakes, regrets, or conversations, wishing you could have done things differently. Maybe you replay a painful breakup, a missed opportunity, or an argument that still lingers in your mind. It feels like the past holds you captive, constantly reminding you of what you could have done better. But here's the truth. The past no longer exists. It's over. The actions you took, the things you said, and the choices you made, those are no longer within your control. Holding on to past mistakes or regrets only keeps you tied to an illusion. The past has no power over you unless you allow it to. Buddha's teachings remind us that the past is like a river that has already passed. We can't change it, and we can't go back to it. The only thing that matters is how we choose to move forward, how we choose to live in the present moment. The fear of the future. Equally, we often find ourselves consumed by worry about the future. Will I succeed? Will things work out? What if I fail? We chase after goals, dreams, and aspirations, hoping for a better tomorrow, yet we often forget that the future is as uncertain as the wind. We can prepare, plan, and take action, but we cannot control what will happen. When we live in constant fear of the future, we deprive ourselves of the joy and peace available to us in the present. We create a mental barrier that blocks us from experiencing life fully, because we're always looking ahead, always preparing for what comes next. The power of letting go of the past and future. The key to true peace is learning to release our grip on both the past and the future. The present moment is all we truly have. It is where life happens, where joy is found, and where peace resides. By letting go of the past and future, we make space to experience the fullness of the present. This doesn't mean we stop planning for the future or learning from the past. It means we stop letting these things define us or control our emotions. The past is a lesson, and the future is an opportunity. But the present is where we live. Practical ways to let go and be present. Practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is the art of paying attention to the present moment without judgment. When you find yourself thinking about the past or the future, Gently guide your attention back to the present. Notice the sensations in your body, the sounds around you, the thoughts that arise, but don't attach to them. Just observe. Release the need for control. Recognize that you cannot control everything. There are things in life that are beyond your influence, and the more you try to control them, the more you'll suffer. Let go of the need to control outcomes, and allow life to unfold as it will. Accept what is. The present moment is what it is. When you stop wishing it were different, you can begin to experience it fully. Accept the present with all its imperfections, its beauty, its challenges, and its joys. Breathe deeply. When you feel yourself pulled into the past or future, take a few deep breaths. Inhale slowly, hold for a moment, and then exhale fully. This simple act of breathing can help you reconnect with the present moment and calm your mind. Embrace the now. Make a conscious effort to be present throughout your day. Whether you're having a conversation, eating a meal, or walking down the street, be fully engaged in the experience. Let go of distractions and truly experience the moment. The peace of the present. When you begin to let go of the past and future, you make room for peace. You stop chasing after fleeting thoughts and desires, and instead embrace the simple, profound truth of the present moment. Here in the present, there is no regret, no worry, no fear. There is only what is. And in that space, you find freedom. The freedom to live fully, to experience each moment as it comes, and to trust that everything you need is already within you. The gift of the present moment. The present moment is a gift, always available to us, always waiting for us to arrive. It's in the stillness of your breath, in the warmth of the sun on your face, in the laughter of a loved one. The more you let go of the past and future, the more you will discover the peace and beauty that exists in the now. Imagine living each day fully present, aware of every moment, free from the weight of the past and the anxiety of the future. This is the life of peace and freedom that awaits you when you let go and embrace the present moment. The gift of gratitude. Finding joy in every moment. How often do you focus on what's going wrong in your life? What if the secret to unlocking joy and peace lies not in waiting for things to improve, but in being thankful for what you already have? Imagine waking up every day with a heart full of gratitude, appreciating even the smallest moments of life. What if you could see every challenge as an opportunity and every day as a gift, no matter the circumstances? In a world that constantly tells us to strive for more, to chase after the next big thing, it's easy to forget the power of gratitude. We often focus on what we don't have or what's going wrong, losing sight of the many blessings already present in our lives. But what if the key to true happiness isn't in what we lack, but in recognizing the abundance that already exists around us? What if we could transform our lives by simply embracing gratitude in every moment? Gratitude isn't just about saying thank you when something good happens. It's about cultivating an awareness of the blessings that surround us, even in the most difficult moments. In this chapter, we will explore the transformative power of gratitude and how it can shift our perspective, open our hearts, and bring peace into our lives, no matter the circumstances. The story begins. Imagine you're sitting in a quiet room, and as you look out the window, you see the world going by, the leaves swaying in the wind, the sun setting on the horizon, people walking by with smiles on their faces. You pause for a moment, taking it all in. It's easy to overlook the beauty of this moment, especially when life feels busy or stressful. But in this simple moment, you realize something. You have everything you need right now. You're alive. You have the ability to see the world around you. You have a home, food, and the people who love you. These things, which may seem small or mundane, are actually immense gifts. And in this moment, you allow yourself to feel a deep sense of gratitude for all that you have. What happens next is subtle, but powerful. As you sit there, you begin to notice more and more things to be grateful for. The warmth of the sun on your face, the sound of birds chirping, the soft, rhythmic beating of your heart. You realize that in this moment, everything is already enough. This is the power of gratitude. It's not just about what we have, it's about our ability to see and appreciate it. When we cultivate gratitude, we shift our focus from what's missing to what's already present. We begin to see the abundance that surrounds us, and in that shift, our hearts open, and we discover the joy that was always there, waiting to be noticed. The struggle with lack. In our modern world, we're constantly told that we need more. More success, more money, more approval, more possessions. We chase after these things, believing that once we have them, we'll be happy. But what happens when we focus on what we don't have? We start to feel a sense of lack, as though we are incomplete or inadequate. This sense of lack becomes a cycle, pulling us further away from true fulfillment. When we focus on what's missing, we forget to appreciate what's already here. We overlook the blessings we already have because we're so fixated on the next thing. It's easy to get caught up in this mindset, but it's also incredibly draining. It creates a sense of emptiness because no matter how much we acquire, there's always something else to chase. Buddha's teachings about contentment remind us that true happiness doesn't come from acquiring more. It comes from being present and grateful for what we already have. When we learn to see the abundance around us, we release the need to constantly chase after something else. Gratitude is the key to shifting our focus from lack to abundance. The power of gratitude. Gratitude has the incredible power to transform our lives. It's a simple practice, but its effects are profound. When we take the time to notice the things we are grateful for, we shift our perspective. We stop focusing on what's wrong and start noticing what's right. We begin to see the beauty in the ordinary, the magic in the mundane, and the richness in the simple things. Gratitude isn't just about feeling thankful for the big moments in life. It's about recognizing the little things like a kind word from a friend, the warmth of a cup of tea, or the laughter of a loved one. It's about appreciating the life we have exactly as it is right now. The freedom of gratitude. The more we practice gratitude, the more freedom we experience. Gratitude frees us from the cycle of wanting and desiring. It allows us to let go of the need to constantly chase after something else. We don't have to wait for life to improve to feel grateful. We can choose to be thankful right now, in the present moment. When we embrace gratitude, we stop focusing on what we don't have, and instead, we start celebrating what we do have. This shift in perspective opens up a world of joy and peace. We realize that we are already rich, not in material wealth, but in the intangible blessings that surround us: love, health, the beauty of the world, and the precious gift of life itself. Practical ways to cultivate gratitude. Keep a gratitude journal. Take a few minutes each day to write down 3 things you're grateful for. These don't have to be big things. The small, everyday moments are just as meaningful, like the smile of a stranger or a beautiful sunset. Practice mindfulness. Throughout the day, take moments to stop and appreciate the present. Whether it's a few seconds of deep breathing or a moment of stillness, allow yourself to recognize the blessings of the current moment. Shift your focus. When you find yourself focusing on what's missing or what's wrong, try to consciously shift your focus to what's going well. Instead of thinking, "I don't have enough," think, "I have more than enough right now." Express your gratitude to others. Let the people around you know how much you appreciate them. Whether it's a simple thank you or a heartfelt note, expressing gratitude strengthens your relationships and creates a sense of connection. Embrace challenges as lessons. Even when things don't go the way you expect, try to find something to be grateful for in the experience. Challenges often hold hidden gifts, teaching us valuable lessons and helping us grow. The joy of gratitude. When you live with gratitude, life becomes richer and more meaningful. You stop chasing after things that don't bring lasting fulfillment and instead embrace the beauty of what you already have. Gratitude allows you to experience joy in every moment, not because everything is perfect, but because you choose to see the perfection in the imperfections. It's not about waiting for the next big thing to bring you happiness. It's about finding peace and contentment in the here and now, knowing that you have everything you need to be happy. Gratitude opens the door to a life of fulfillment, freedom, and joy. 3:16 ch. the 17th of July 2025.